I want to introduce our next speaker, our next community assets. The topic will be Fairfield Garden Initiative, and I'm happy to announce two of the three people who are going to be responsible for this, two of the many people, but anyway. Faith Reeves has a passion for learning how to produce genuinely nutritious food while regenerating soils. She's currently the Soil Health Guide at the Bionutrient Food Association, which is a nonprofit organization focused on the quality of the food supply nationally. Faith is the former farm manager of the Sustainability Research Institute, or SRI, demonstration farm at Sky Factory here in Fairfield. She designed, promoted, and managed a business-supported agricultural model there for the last 10.5 years. She has certificates in nutrition farming from NTS, in permaculture design, in Korean natural farming, and she's a graduate of Elaine Ingham's Living Soils class. Over the years, Faith has studied extensively with many pillars of regenerative farming and has expertise in soil and plant health, soil chemistry, and soil biology. And Tiffany April Rains, whom you might have met earlier, if you were here earlier, is an avid permaculture gardener with nearly 20 years experience growing every type of plant imaginable. We're going to test you on that. She started Wild Spirits Farm to share her knowledge and love of plants with the Fairfield community. She also founded the Fairfield Gardeners Coalition, a group of 800 dedicated members sharing plants, tools, and gardening advice. Her website is www.wildspiritsfarm.com. And missing from us today is Barb Cyren. She had a family situation come up. She's the owner of Back to Basics Farm in Fairfield, Ohio. You've probably met her at the farmer's market. She's been in the farming business since 2001 and providing produce to the farmer's market, and she spent the last 21 years building her knowledge. Barb is the new project coordinator for this initiative, and the project is going to help low to moderate income families in Jefferson County who have food insecurity, and Barb is passionate about helping with these issues. She'll be operating the day-to-day execution of this important project and is looking forward to working with this great team and this community. I give you April and Faith. Tiffany and Faith. Sorry.
Hi again. I was up here probably about 20 minutes ago, so some of you may have already heard the origins of this program, but for those of you who are now just joining us, we'll just give you a little bit of an overview. How's that feedback? Is that okay? Should I be back here? How's that? No? Come closer? How's that? Okay, great. So I have been actively involved in the gardening community in Fairfield for many years. As mentioned, I run the Fairfield Gardeners Coalition on Facebook, and since 2020 have been very closely involved with our community, making sure that people get the nutrients that they need in their soil, the plants that they need for their gardens, and discovered a couple years ago there's a very significant need in our community for support for people to be able to grow their own food. I have been doing it kind of as a hobby and out of the love for it, as have many of my colleagues, but as it turns out, there are so many people in our town that need these types of resources and these abilities simply to feed themselves and their family nutritious produce that they couldn't even otherwise afford. It's become more serious since the start of the pandemic. A lot of people in our town lost their jobs, lost their ability to afford organic food and natural food, especially since prices are rising. So last year, myself and a few dedicated, sustainably minded people in our community got together and discussed this exact problem. How can we support people with food security, sustainability in our community? And that's when the concept of the Fairfield Gardeners Initiative was born. So we were awarded a federal grant that's covering the cost of 6,000 plant starts for gardeners that need it, 12 educational workshops taught by Faith, and a tool lending library, offering people the tools that they need to get their gardens in place. So I am honored to be working with the people on this team, Bob Ferguson, who's an excellent networker and communicator in Fairfield, Faith, who's absolutely brilliant, soil scientist and a plant wizard herself, and Barb Cyren with Back to the Basics Farm, who coordinates with the Lord's Cupboard and other places in the community that really need these resources that we're going to offer. So Faith has put together a beautiful presentation she will be sharing with you on the details of what we are going to do and what we're going to offer. And just remember the website gardenfairfield.com. Please pass that on. We're taking applications and participants now, and you can also learn more after this speech at that website. So I'll turn you over to Faith. Thank you.
Thank you, Tiffany. All right, and so one individual that I would really love to personally thank is Leanne Gluck. She is, I'm a shorty, yeah, okay. She is a board member of the Sustainable Living Coalition. She came onto the board, was it end of 20? A year ago, and she just came in with this energy, this go get it, powerful energy, and she pursued this grant along with Tiffany and the other sustainably minded individuals who got together and had a charrette about what it is that the community needs and how can we plug in. Bob was very instrumental in bubbling up this idea. It all started in David Fisher's garden. And so what can a home garden produce, and how is that going to help regulate food security in our community? And so the the Fairfield Garden Initiative was born. This is a community development block grant that we received this spring. And so these are some of the aspects of pursuing the grant. Where we started, we needed to figure out who are our stakeholders, what does our community need, and so we went through the process of doing 2 broad surveys in the community, kind of assessing need, assessing desire, getting some orientation on where we needed to focus the energy. And we saw that, of course, fresh produce was desired. What were the limitations in individuals being able to acquire that produce? Were they finding access hard, especially during COVID? Were they lacking land, resources, whatever? What did they need in order to either get access or produce it themselves? And so the ideas came together around the components of, providing resources, and so the beautiful plant starts that Tiffany will produce, seeds for direct sowing, tools for gardening, for the tool lending library, amendments for the soil, compost. We may hopefully be able to acquire additional support from the community to get some additional amendments for the soil, educational workshops. Those are our mission. These are our goals. We really just want to reach out and provide assistance for anyone who is interested in initiating a garden for this growing season, 2022, all the way through until really the end of June, early July 2023. That's the grant program. We are seeking to have participants that do fall inside the income requirements for the program, low to medium income. All of that information is on the webpage. Just, I was Googling around yesterday trying to get up to date on where we are in Jefferson County and what is happening with food insecurity in Fairfield right now. And so you can see that, 9.9% of our community is struggling for access to food or dealing with food insecurity issues. In the Fairfield city limits, 15.7% of our community fall below the poverty line, and 1,700 individuals who are dealing with food insecurity issues. 45% of our school children are qualifying; their parents are qualifying for free or reduced lunch, and so we know there is a need, and we're just here to support that. And these are the components of the program that we are initiating. And so the plant starts and compost, resources, tool lending library, educational training. Barb Cyren, who you all know, I'm sure, if you visited the farmer's market. She's an amazing organizer. She's an amazing, she just has the initiative to go out there, pursue the knowledge that needs to be acquired, make those connections. She was able to make a beautiful connection between the ISU Extension Office and this program. We'll actually be able to teach our educational workshops here in the Master Gardener's garden back in the back 40 back there. And we'll have additional support from the ISU Extension Office as well. Thank you, Barb. We wish she was here so you could hear her explain all of this much better than I will be able to. I would love for you to talk about your beautiful plants, Tiffany, if you don't mind. Sure.
Absolutely. So we are growing 6,000 plant starts through 2022 and 2023. Did I do it? Okay. Can you hear me? Cool. Like this? Can you tell this is my first time doing this? All right, we'll get it figured out. It's been a bit of an adventure figuring out how to grow at this volume, as it's something that I have never personally done before. So I have an indoor grow room in my basement built by the brilliant Nicholas Hardcastle. It's an original with flood tables and automated lights. It's really a quite beautiful system. So I have several thousand seedlings growing down there. And as they get bigger, I am exercising creativity to figure out where I'll put them to adapt them to the elements, as a greenhouse is currently underway on my property, but not exactly built yet. So we found out that we were awarded this grant the first week of March, and it was just go time from that point forward. I just started seeding like crazy, doing everything I can, and I have full faith it's going to work out perfectly, because that's just how things tend to work out. But what we're going to do for the participants is offer them plants in 2 phases. As many of you may already know, we have our cool season plants in Iowa and our warm season plants. So I'm currently acclimating the cool season plants, things like broccoli, kale, cabbage, chard, and lettuce, to the outdoor elements. And those are going to be ready for participants to plant, I would say, the first week of May. Then the second phase of plants, the tomatoes and peppers and eggplants that require a lot more heat, are going to be distributed probably the first week of June. And Faith, I think, as part of her educational workshops, is going to explain to people the differences in temperature sensitivities for the various plants that you can plant, and we'll be providing them at the seasonally appropriate times. So that's my house, my grow room in the basement, and you can see these plant carts here. Those are going out to be up potted to the little hoop houses that I have, and eventually the bigger greenhouses. And no doubt in 2023 we'll have this streamlined, but I think it's going to be really fantastic this year too. So I have put together online ordering on my website, wildspiritsfarm.com. So there's a plant shop with all the varieties that I'm carrying that's available to the public if anybody wanted to buy plants. But members of the Gardeners Coalition are given a secret code that's going to make the plants free of charge to them. I will then get the orders and be able to coordinate the deliveries and the pickups from there. Okay, back to you, Faith.
Thank you. So we are surveying the community for interest right now. We're figuring out who our participants are. So you can go to the gardenfairfield.com, and that will take you to a page, the Fairfield Garden Initiative page on the Sustainable Living Coalition website, where you can check the income requirements and fill out the surveys. And so we have a general interest survey. Are you interested in participating in the program overall? Would you like to have free, beautiful, healthy plants? And what type of plants are you most interested in? And what type of seeds, if you needed seeds for direct sowing, what type of seeds would you be most interested in? And then there's another, on the general survey, we're also surveying what are the needs for garden tools. Which tools should we be focusing our resources towards? And so we want to make sure that we have as many of each, tool as we can. We have a budget that is restricted in certain areas, but we do have a budget for purchasing tools. We will have a tool lending library in the community that will be operated by Barb Cyren, where tools can be checked out. And what we'd like to see is a tool kit checked out. And so this is your kit for the season. This is what, this is what's missing in your already existing tool supply. Here's your kit. Return that at the end of the growing season. It'll be available for the next participant in 2023. And so we're surveying which tools are needed, and then we're also surveying what topics are most desired when it comes down for the educational workshops. These are the topics that I presented in the beginning of the grant program, or when I was initiated to offer information or details about what courses I might teach. This is what I offered. This is totally malleable. It is something that we will just adjust to need, and we're surveying garden experience and knowledge, and so we'll adjust to the participants. Are we primarily working with individuals who need container gardens? Okay, so we need to reallocate some of our resources towards containers and teach container gardening. Are we working with individuals who would prefer to plant directly in the soil? We'll orient. And so we're surveying the community right now to find out what are the primary needs. And then very soon we'll be getting back in contact with those individuals who have expressed interest. This is the web page, just a little visual of what you might see when you go there. And we'll be connecting back with participants who check all the requirements for the program, and we'll confirm that they are a registered participant, and then we'll initiate the first stages of registering for the workshops and getting them plant starts. Yeah, so that's pretty much it. We would really love to express that we're looking for support in many ways. The grant is an $85,000 grant. We have a very the line items are some of them are malleable, but some of them are not. We have Barb Cyren for an entire year as our program coordinator out of the bottom line of that as well. And so we would love additional support so that we can actually reach more households. We definitely are committed to at least 100 new gardens or reactivated gardens. And so we're committed to that. We're committed to supporting 3 community garden locations in our community with resources. We don't have a program for installation, and we don't have much money in the budget for that build-out process, like whether we needed raised bed materials, whether we needed more containers. And so there's an opportunity for the community to plug in if they'd like to. We would certainly love to extend this with a broader reach. These are, just some ways that you could, well, that's the surveying. Opportunities for support. These are ways that, you could reach out. We will be looking for volunteers as well. That is certainly needed. Again, big thank you to Leanne Gluck. She's not here. She moved back to California, but she augmented my presentation and made it so much more readable. But that's just the small thing. She has been just a driving force to get the grant acquired, to keep us all, lined up and making sure that we're following our P's and Q's. She's a great support. Yeah, Barb Cyren and Bob, amazing organizers, and that's pretty much it. We definitely want to say thank you to the ISU Extension Office for their generous donation and the generous offer of being able to utilize their garden facilities and the event center for the workshops. We will have preservation workshops as well. It's not just gardening workshops, so we're gonna go all the way from seed starting to harvesting to preservation and seed saving to make it a resilient closed loop, ideally. And then definitely want to also reach out or send out a very large thank you to Aaron, who also made a generous donation. And so all of those resources are going to get put to great use. And if you need more information, contact any of us or Barb or Bob. Thanks.